is the second tool that we need for the data analysis purpose, and that is the Pandas library. We saw earlier we have to install it uh, using that pip install package, pip install Pandas. Now, to use it after installing, we need to import those libraries. आप आगे जो भी install करोगे libraries which you have installed, आपको अगर उसे use करना है, so you have to import them. So क्या what you will write it? Import pandas as PD. Again, PD is just a alias that we will be using instead of always calling pandas dot some method, pandas dot some attribute, pandas dot some method. Instead of that, we will be just using that pd dot data frame, pd dot series, and so on, right? So this is just a alias, and many of the libraries uses such aliases because they have such a long name. So instead of that, we just use this shortcuts. Now, what are data frames? Basically, we will be focusing on very important data structures that we get. That this is a one of the object which is a pandas object, and it is data frame. Data frames are the workhorse of the pandas and are directly inspired by R programming language. This R language is basically used for statistical purpose because and analytical because it has so many analytical tools with them. So data frame, this whole thought process was inspired by our programming language. A data frame represents a rectangular tabular data and contains an ordered collection of columns, each of which can be of a different type. So earlier in the NumPy arrays, what we saw that uh, array is a collection of elements of same data type, right? If an array has integers, then each and every element will be of integer type, or a float data type, or a string data type, or a unicode string, something like this. But every element will be of same type. In data frame, it is exactly like a Excel sheet. You can imagine while अंडरस्टैंडिंग डेटा फ्रेम हम लोग एक्सेल शीट को इमेजिन कर सकते हैं. एक्सेल शीट कैसी होती है? इट हैज सम नाइस columns and rows. Each column has some column labels or column names we can which we can use for reference. Let a column 1 has students name, column 2 has scores, their scores, column 3 has their gender, male, female, others, then column 4 has their grades and something like this. So now when I try to focus on these columns, then column 1 which has students name will be of a different type. Names, they are names, basically they are strings, right? Students exam scores, these can be floats. Some score 30.3, 30.5, 34, 36. So these are numerical types, right? Column 3, uh, talking about their gender, male, female, again this is string. What about their grades? A, B, and C grades. So these are again categorical, or I should say a string type. So आपके यहाँ पे जो columns है, each and every column are not necessarily are contain the same data types. They may contain string, they may contain numerical, they may contain booleans, they may contain float type. So it is basically a heterogeneous collection. So it has heterogeneous data. The data frame has both rows and column indexes. Now, the only thing is, okay, it's fine. Again, the rows will have 0, 1, 2, 3 indexes, and column will be referred to as 0, 1, 2, 3. Along with them, we can also refer them with their respective labels. So, if I say column 1 has a nice label, let's say gender, column 2 has a nice label as grades, column 3 has a label, so we can refer that column which is having the label as gender, pull all those values from that column instead of 0, 1, 2, 3 using those indexes. Now we can call columns and rows values using their corresponding labels. So we will first generate a random data and will convert. We have this dictionary which has keys as state, year and population. State column, state has some corresponding values which are the states of USA, and their corresponding year has some year listed out, and their population in each respective years, right? So this is your dictionary, and let's name this as a data. Now we have to convert this data dictionary to a data frame. So we will be just like np.array, there is a pd.data frame where you send the dictionary, and this function will convert this dictionary into a data frame. So let's assign this data frame to a variable named as frame, and let's print that frame. So you can see here there is a nice data frame, has a tabular data has been generated for you. So the keys will now become, these columns has names, and these names are what are the keys of this dictionaries. So always remember, when you convert a dictionary to a data frame, keys always become the column labels, or I should say column names. So this is your state key will become your column label, and its corresponding value will be the that column के contents. ठीक है, इस तरह से आपने अपना first data frame generate करा. For large data frames, the head method selects only the first 5 rows. Let's make our own data frame first. Yeah, let's do that. Data equals to, we have a dictionary. Let's say, what was the name of that dictionary? First key was state, right? So let's say state dictionary. Let's say mm, one more name. Let's say Florida. So just don't forget to use this comma here. Their year 2013, 2014, 2014 again. Let's see. And let's say their corresponding POP population. Nice. Population 2.5, 3.2, 2.1. So we have this dictionary data. Let's check the type of it, if we have created it correctly or not. So yeah, it's a dictionary. So now we will first import pandas. Import pandas as PD. Now we will convert this data dictionary to a frame using pd.data. Let's autocomplete that and just send the data. So now you can see here it's a frame, right? So you have created your first frame. Let's move further. अब ये अभी फिलहाल हमारे पास में हमने जो फ्रेम क्रिएट करी, इट हैज ओनली द 3 स्टेट से रिलेटेड उसका डेटा है. स्टेट का नाम है, ईयर कौन से ईयर में आपका कैलकुलेट करी थी पॉपुलेशन, एंड सो ऑन. बट जब रियल वर्ल्ड डेटा सेट पे हम लोग व्हेन वी स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन दोज रियल वर्ल्ड डेटा सेट, the rows are not small. The data is not small. We have thousands of rows, we have to deal with thousands of rows. Right now we have only the 3 states data. What happens in the real world data is we have thousands or 10 thousands of rows. We have to deal with them. And if you just want to check the first 4 rows or 5 rows or first 2 rows of that data set, you have this head method. And similarly, if you want to check bottom say last 4 rows, uh, bottom say last की 5 rows, then there is a tell method which is available to you. So head method by default gives you the 5 elements, first 5 elements. It gives you the list of first 5 elements in the data frame. So frame dot head method give you the first by default 5 data or 5 rows of the frame, and the tell method last 5 rows by default it gives you the last 5 rows of the data. So this is your tell method and the head method. Now what happens is अभी जो columns के नाम थे, वो by default were used, were keys आपकी by default use हुई. What happens is अगर आपको format change करना होता, if I wanted year first, then population, then state, so आपके पास में option है. Let's say pd.data frame में you can send कॉलम्स करके आपके पास में एक आर्ग्यूमेंट होता है, वहां पे आप अपना सेट कर सकते हैं. सो ईयर फर्स्ट, देन पॉपुलेशन, देन योर स्टेट नेम, राइट, स्टेट. सो आप जिस फॉर्मेट में अगर इस आर्ग्यूमेंट का आप यूज करते हैं, तो जिस फॉर्मेट में आपने ये कॉलम्स के नाम लिखे हैं, जिस वे में, फर्स्ट व्हाट इट विल डू इज ईयर, ईयर करके जो ये कॉलम का नाम आपने सेट किया है, ये कॉलम का नाम ये मैच करेगा जहां पे भी ये की इस नाम की होगी, वो मैच करेगा एंड उसके करस्पॉन्डिंग वैल्यूज को पिक करेगा. नाउ पॉप करके ये जो आपके पास में की आपने कॉलम का नाम दिया है, इस नाम की वो की इस डेटा में सर्च करेगा. सो या इट इज देयर. एंड स्टेट नाम का जो ये आपका आपने कॉलम नेम बनाया है, विच विल बी योर थर्ड कॉलम, उसको वो यहाँ पे इस नाम की वो की सर्च करेगा एंड उसके करस्पॉन्डिंग वैल्यू विल बी द पार्ट ऑफ द थर्ड कॉलम. सो लेट्स डू दैट एंड लेट्स सी आपके फ्रेम में क्या चेंज हुआ है. सो अगर आपने कॉलम में यहाँ पे मेंशन किया है किस फॉर्मेट में, किस सीक्वेंस में कॉलम्स चाहिए, तो प्रायोरिटी विल बी गिवन टू दिस थिंग. एंड अब ये डिक्शनरी इज जस्ट टू गिव द डेटा करस्पॉन्डिंग टू दोज की नेम्स. सो उस फॉर्मेट में ही डेटा यहां से उठेगा एंड कॉलम नेम्स विल बी गिवन बाय दिस. व्हाट इफ आपने एक एक्स्ट्रा कॉलम का नाम दे दिया, so what will happen, let's see. Now the data, let's run this. We have only 3 keys. जो 3 keys हैं वो यहाँ पे कॉलम में आपने जो लिस्ट बनाई है एक कॉलम नेम्स की, we have those 3 keys, right, in my data dictionary. What about this det column? It is not. There is no such key present in my data, in my dictionary data. But still, your data frame will be generated, and the values which will be present in the that column will be missing values or NaNs, not available null values. So it is mandatory. Once आपने अगर कॉलम में उस नाम का अगर एक कॉलम जनरेट करने के लिए आपने बोला है, so he will, that pandas data pd dot data frame will generate such named column. And if इस नाम का अगर डेटा के पास में कोई डिक्शनरी नहीं है, कोई की नहीं है, तो उसके करस्पॉन्डिंग वैल्यू भी नहीं होगी. सो व्हाट ही विल डू इज ही विल फिल दैट कॉलम विथ मिसिंग वैल्यूज. सो इस तरह से आप, अगर आपने जनरेट करने के लिए बोला है, ही विल जनरेट द कॉलम. सो आपने जो सीक्वेंस भेजा है उस सीक्वेंस को प्रायोरिटी दी जाती है. अगर आपको सपोज मेन डेटा सेट, अपने रियल वर्ल्ड डेटा सेट में यू वांट टू गेट टू नो व्हाट आर द कॉलम नेम्स इन माय डेटा फ्रेम, सो यू विल जस्ट, तो कॉलम नेम्स, कॉलम लेबल्स are the feature, are the attributes, right? So you, what you will do is frame dot columns, no parenthesis after this because it's an attribute. So these are the column names of your data frame. Now what if आपके पास में अगर ये डेटा फ्रेम है, यू जस्ट वांट टू सी द कंटेंट ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर कॉलम, और इन शॉर्ट आई वुड से आपको ये कॉलम इंडेक्स करना है. सो व्हाट यू विल डू इज यू जस्ट फ्रेम में से इंडेक्स स्टेट करके कॉलम को, सो यू विल गेट अ नाइस all the content of this state column. अब इसका जरा सा आप टाइप चेक करो. आपने ये जो एक सिंगल कॉलम पुल किया है बार, लेट्स चेक द टाइप ऑफ दिस थिंग. सो इट इज अ pandas लाइब्रेरी यूज कर, pandas के कोर लाइब्रेरी में एक सीरीज ऑब्जेक्ट जनरेट हुआ है. सो द नोटिंग पॉइंट हियर इज, आप कभी भी डेटा फ्रेम में से एक पर्टिकुलर सिंगल कॉलम पिक करते हो या अगर सिंगल रो पिक करते हो, दैट इज यू जस्ट ट्राई टू इंडेक्स वन सिंगल कॉलम और अ रो, सो उसका जो टाइप होता है विल बी अ सीरीज. बट अगर आप एक से ज्यादा रो पुल करते हो, मल्टीपल रो और मल्टीपल कॉलम, लेट्स से स्टेट एंड डेट कॉलम, then the type of that will be a data frame. So this is the point to be noted. Now let's there is another method. This was one method, frame dot state. There is another method which is just similar to how you have indexed अपन ने dictionary के अंदर how we use the key names to pull the values corresponding to it. Similarly यहाँ पे भी आप data frame का नाम लिखते हो, then square bracket and जो भी column की corresponding values आपको निकालनी है, just mention that column name, right? सो यहाँ पे काफी कुछ चीजें डिक्शनरी में जो हम लोगों ने देखा था वैसा ही चलता है. सो दिस इज द ऑल कंटेंट करस्पॉन्डिंग टू द स्टेट कॉलम. Now let's move further. What if you want to pull out or index out multiple columns? So the first thing, let's say you want to pull state and population column. What you will do, first make a list of all the columns that you want to pull out, state, and just be aware जिस सीक्वेंस में आपने यहाँ पे लिस्ट बनाई है, लिस्ट के अंदर पहले स्टेट लिखा है, देन कॉमा पॉपुलेशन लिखा है, तो उसी फॉर्मेट में आपका डेटा निकलेगा. इवन दो फ्रेम के अंदर पॉपुलेशन जो कॉलम है इट कम्स फर्स्ट, बट while calling them आपने अगर state column पहले लिखा है then अगर population column लिखा है, so sequence will be followed like the one you have given, right? So आप इस तरह से एक list create करोगे, उसको स्क्वायर, इस लिस्ट के अंदर जो भी आपने कॉलम लेबल्स लिखे हैं उनके करस्पॉन्डिंग आपको क्या करना है, वैल्यूज को पुल आउट करना है. सो दिस स्क्वायर ब्रैकेट जस्ट मेंशन दैट. एंड कहां से पुल करना है, डेटा फ्रेम में से. सो लेट्स डू दैट. सो आपने जो फॉर्मेट दिया है उसी फॉर्मेट में आपका ये डेटा आपके मेन डेटा फ्रेम में से इंडेक्स हो जाता है. सो नाउ लेट्स चेक द टाइप ऑफ इट. Now the type will be no more series, it is a data frame object. So pandas का आपका ये particular frame module में से आपने क्या बनाया है, data frame object create किया है. So data frame object is a part of pandas library. So this is how you can pull out or index out multiple columns. Okay, so let's make one more change here. While हम लोगों ने ये डेटा के समय, जब डेटा जो था हम लोगों का एक डिक्शनरी था, एंड वी हैव मेंशन, हम लोगों ने अपने मन से अकॉर्डिंग टू अस हमने सेट किया कॉलम लेबल्स को. सिमिलरली आप इंडेक्स, दैट इज द रो लेबल्स, रोज के नाम अभी फिलहाल व्हाट आर दोज, 0 1 2 3 4 5 दैट वी सॉ इन द इंडेक्सिंग ऑल्सो. So these are the row indexes. What if we want to name it? We want to give some labels to them. So pd dot data frame, first you have to mention कहाँ से आपको data pull करना है, वो data जहां आएगा उन कॉलम्स का नाम क्या मेंशन करोगे, उसके बाद में जो रोज के नाम हैं आप वो भी सेट कर सकते हो. इंडेक्स पैरामीटर, इंडेक्स आर्ग्यूमेंट को आप सेट करके, लेट्स से 0 1 2 3 नहीं, प्रॉपर पहली रो, दूसरी रो, तीसरी, चौथी, पांचवी, इस तरह से आपको नेमिंग करना है. दैट इज 1 2 3 4 5 6. तो आपको while making the data frame you have to mention index equals to 1 2 3 4 5 6. So now you can see here the row indexes are no more 0 1 2 3. Now those are 1 2 3 4 5. जो आपने यहाँ पे अपने कस्टमाइज नाम दिए हैं वो आपको यहाँ पे देखने को मिलेंगे. So now what you have to do here is drop row with row name 6. आपको अब you what you have to do is you have to draw that you know 6 जो रो है उसको आपको ड्रॉप करना है. मीन्स यू हैव टू पुल दिस रो नेम्ड एज 6. ये रो लेबल जो 6 है उसको आपको बाहर निकालना है एंड बाहर निकाल के यू हैव टू ड्रॉप इट, राइट. So it and this thing which we are gonna do is not permanent. So frame 2 में से you have to drop what? The row having a label as 6. So what it will do is आपका यहाँ पे देखो दो ऑप्शन है. ये ड्रॉपिंग करने के लिए आपने जो यहाँ पे नेम्स सेंड किया है, लेट्स से लेबल सेंड किया है 6, बाय डिफॉल्ट वो रोज में इस नाम को सर्च करता है, रो इंडेक्सेस में ये नाम सर्च करता है. बट यहाँ पे एक छोटा सा चेंज है, तो आपको यहाँ पे मेंशन करने की जरूरत नहीं है. सो इट विल सर्च 6 इन द रो लेबल्स एंड इफ ही फाउंड इट तो आपको वो ड्रॉप हो जाएगा 6 नाम का रो एंड दिस विल बी योर रिजल्ट. एंड अगेन आपका ये परमानेंट डैमेज नहीं हुआ है. आपका ये जो 6 लेबल का जो रो है इट्स नॉट परमानेंटली ड्रॉप्ड. आपका फ्रेम 2 अभी भी इंटेक्ट है. दिस इज जस्ट अ व्यू. इफ यू ड्रॉप लेबल 6 रो लेबल 6, okay, so this is how your frame 2 will look like. So for permanent, so अगर आपको ये परमानेंट चेंज करना है, लेट्स से मुझे ये परमानेंटली जो रो है हैविंग अ लेबल 6 परमानेंटली ड्रॉप करना है, देन देयर इज अ आर्ग्यूमेंट विच इज नोन एज इन प्लेस. आपको बाय डिफॉल्ट इट इज फॉल्स, सो बेसिकली उसको परमानेंट इसलिए नहीं कर पाता है. इफ यू जस्ट असाइन ट्रू टू इट तो ये जो रिमूवल होगा इट विल बी परमानेंट एंड द फ्रेम 2 में से जो ये 6 नेम्ड रो लेबल है वो आपका ड्रॉप हो जाएगा. नाउ सिमिलरली इफ यू वांट टू ड्रॉप द कॉलम्स, अगर आपको सी लेट्स सी हमारे पास में frame है, we have this frame which is having an annoying column which is full of missing values. We want to drop it. So let's do that. Frame dot drop what you want to drop is dead column. See what will happen. You will get a key error because by default ये जो drop method है will search the row label having the name as dead. तो वो रोज में सर्च करने की कोशिश करेगा, रो लेबल को मैच करेगा एंड सर्च करेगा डेट नाम की रो लेबल को. बट वी नो देयर इज नो सच रो लेबल इन अवर फ्रेम. So we have to mention and it is a column, it's a column label. So what we will have to do is we have to use this another argument named as access, that you have to search this name in the column labels not in the row labels. So let's do that and run it. So you can see here your dead column is when you drop that column your frame will look like this, and if you want to permanently drop it, so what you will have to do is in place equals to true and this will be a permanent solution. Okay, so dead column is no more in your frame. Now someone gave you know dead values कि आपके corresponding states के क्या dead है, what are the dates of it, and you want to make a column named as date with the proper values. So again you want to make a new column named as date. Let's do that. What you will do, आपने डिक्शनरी में कभी भी हम लोगों ने जब देखा था, वी हैव टू मेक अ न्यू की एंड गिव अ वैल्यूज टू देम. सो व्हाट वी यूज टू डू, आप लोग डिक्शनरी का नाम लिखते थे, देन स्क्वायर ब्रैकेट एंड वो नए की का नाम लिखते थे. सिमिलरली आप इस फ्रेम के अंदर एक कॉलम जनरेट करोगे विथ नेम DEBT, और उसमें वैल्यूज, सपोज किसी आपके कलीग ने आपको वैल्यूज दिया, सो वी विल जस्ट assign those values to this newly generated column. So do that. 3.2, 4.8, let's randomly give numbers to them. So what will happen, you have generated one new column named as that in your frame, and now they have some values that you have assigned to them. So इस तरह से आप नए rows को generate भी, नए columns को generate भी कर सकते हो, पुराने columns को drop भी कर सकते हो permanently. Just remember to use this argument and assign them equals to 1 if you want to drop a column. और by default अगर आपको row drop करनी है, so there is no need of this access, and अगर permanently करनी है तो yeah, in place equal to true. Let's move further. Indexing method to take subset out. अगर आपके पास में there is a method LOC. Right now what our frame in this example looks like, it is something like this. Let's change our frame here also. What is our main frame is, okay, let's dot index 1, comma 2, comma 3. So now I have changed the name. Now you can see, now you will see the index name will no more be 0, 1, 2. So let's see, let's print that frame, change version of frame. So you can see here, you can assign new index values just very easily. Just see frame dot index and assign the new names to them in a form of a list. So now there is no more 0, 1, 2. You have assigned nice customized name to that rows, and these are your new row labels. So what is the next thing we want to do, we want to take a subset of it. हम अपने इस frame में से, if you want to say इस particular part को निकालना है, we want to subset, we want to take a subset out of it our frame में से. So what you will do is, जैसे हम लोगों ने array में indexing किया था, first we have to make sure about the rows, we have to talk about the rows, कौन से row का part है, then we have to mention उस वो कौन से particular column से belong करता है. तो right now we can't do that 0, 1, 2. We can do that 0, 1, 2, but there is a thing, you have this label, first we will use those labels to index those things out. So what you will do is dot loc. So what you have to mention first, about, make a list containing the row labels, comma, about the columns that they belong, that data belong, right, column label. So let's see, हमको अपने data में से, frame में से इतना subset बाहर निकालना है. So let's make indexing करना है. So this square bracket will be for indexing. We have to pull out something, so it is a indexing, right? So let's talk about these things. This data belongs to what row labels, 1 and 2. So we will, in this list we will mention the name of row labels 1 and 2, right? Comma, let's talk about the columns, year, population, state and debt. So let's make the list of it, year, population and state and debt. So let's run this. So you have taken out a subset of this whole data frame. Let's do one more thing. What if I just want this much of data? Row label 1 and 2 and their corresponding value up to what column? State column only. So we will just delete this det in the column list, and you can see here we just pulled out this much of subset from our main data frame. So this is one of the things, and one of the way to index out or pull a subset out of a data frame. अगेन यूजिंग द ओल हम लोगों ने जो अभी तक इंडेक्सिंग सीखी थी, सेम अगर मेथोडोलॉजी हम लोग यहाँ पे यूज करें, लेट दैट 0 1 2, सो यू कैन अगेन लेट्स हम लोगों को सेम subset निकालना है, but now using the indexes, that is 0 1 2. So what you will do is frame dot, instead of loc location you will use what? Index location. And again we will talk about what? The rows and the corresponding column. So again similar to that what we did earlier in the numpy. So these two are 0 and 1 positional rows, right? 0 and 1, but we know upper limit is not included while indexing, but we want this row, right? So what you will write here is 2, and uske baad we have to decide about the columns. Columns is 0, year column is at position 0, population column is at position 1, state column is position 2, right, up to state. So what you will do? 0 2, again not 2, 0 2 3. So let's do that and you will get the similar result. So these are the two things that uh, you can use to take the subset out of your main data frame. So now let's discuss a little bit and deal with the real world data set. Most of the real world data set you will be facing in future are in a form of a CSV file. What CSV stand for is comma separated file. So let's look at this CSV file which we have in our data folder. Yeah, so we have to locate it, and now instead of opening it through the Excel file, basically it's a Excel, it will be by default opened with the Excel. We will open this file with Notepad, and what we will observe here is the data is separated by commas. So that's why that's the name came from, comma separated. The data, the values, the contents are separated by what? Comma. So if we want to import such comma separated file, basically this is a data set which you can get on the Kaggle SF salary data set name. So we have already downloaded this data set and we have this in our current directory somewhere here, and now we want to import it because we want to work with them, right? So how to import this kind of CSV data file? So what you will do here is, let's take some more input cells. We will name that data which we will import CSV file data set pd dot, we have to read the data contents of it, right? Pd dot read underscore, what kind of data we want to read? CSV format data, and inside the parenthesis we just have to mention the file name. If, be very careful, abhi agar let's see, let's check the current directory where we are working right now. We are at somewhere here, हमारी जो ये notebook open हुई है, it is its location is this one. अगर आपका जो CSV file है, it is not present in this location, so what you will send here is, you will send the path of that CSV file. जहां पे भी आपकी ये CSV file रखी होगी, you will be sending its path inside the parenthesis. Right now salary जो आपकी ये data set है, CSV file है, it is in my current directory only, so there is no need to mention the path. So for you and for your future references, just remember this thing. So right now we will just pass the salaries CSV file and just read it. So let's print that salaries file. So basically by default what you will get here is it will be by default be read as a data frame. So any CSV file will be read as a data frame. Okay, so we want to check the first 5 rows of this data frame, so we will be using the head method. So what are the column labels here? ID, employee name, job title, base pay, overtime, other pay, everything related to the employees. And you can observe here benefits column has some missing values in it. Notes column also has some missing values. So let's describe this data set. We want to get a summary of it. What kind of data does each and every column have? We want to describe it. So there is a describe method which will give you the summary of it, all the statistical information. So mean of each and every column, standard deviation of each and every column, minimum value, lower quartile range, median, upper, maximum value, everything. And similarly you want to get a summarize or the get the summary information about the data set, then there is a data dot info method available to you. So what it is, how many rows are there? It has 14, around 1,48,654 data rows contains. You have 1,48,654 observations rows. These data are known as observation, and these are called as columns corresponding to that observation. So how many observation you have? 1 lakh around. And out of those, ID column has integer values, employee name column has object, obviously because employee names, these are string, and we saw earlier that object string type is also called as objects, right? So employee name are objects. Base pay, again it's a float, it contains float data. uh, Overtime also float, other pay also float. And year column is integer value, has integer values. Notes is a float. And agency again object, and status is again float 64. Now out of all these 654, you can see here somewhere these other pay, overtime, base pay are only the non-null values. It means out of 1,48,654, only this much in the base pay column are non-null, that is other than missing values or null values. So I can say in the base pay column, in the overtime pay column, in the other pay column, there are some missing values inside this columns. So let's get information about that too. What you will do is, let's we know, so we will drop what? Always remember, when you have this kind of a data set, just make sure which columns are important to you, and which whoever is unnecessary, we will drop those. So let's drop notes and status column. And what are these column labels? So while using this drop method, what you have to mention? Access equal to 1, because it has too many null values. Notes, basically all these notes column has all the missing values. It doesn't even have a single non-value within it. So it is useless for us, we have to drop it. And same goes for that status column. So we just drop it, and let's name that dropped new data frame as salary. Okay, now let's check the head of it. Now we will try to solve some questions. What is the average base pay? Now let's scroll up. We know base पे के अंदर भी कुछ values है which are missing, right? But they are asking you some question. In a particular base pay column, what is the average base pay, right? We have to take the average of that column. So first of all, let's check the total null values present in the base pay column. What you will do is salary, in that salary data frame, कौन से कॉलम में? बेस पे कॉलम में. व्हाट यू वांट टू फाइंड? हम लोगों को is there any null values? So let's just copy this thing. So let's say let's name this as data. Right now we are calling it as a data. So let's say salary equals to data dot, first drop those things, notes, right? So you can just send, if you want to drop more than one element, more than one column, just make a list of it and send it to the drop method status. And how you want to search it? While dropping by columns. So let's do that. What we made the problem here? What's the problem? Status is not found in the access. So status, okay, it's a capital type error. Let's do that. Yeah. So now salary column will salary dot head. This new data frame will no more have to deal with those two annoying columns. So what now? What we need to do is we want to see in that data frame, salary data frame, we want to find how many, is there any null values or not. If it is, then sum them up. So let's break that statement down. Salary base pay, is there any null values? So is null. So let's see. You will get a bunch of false and trues. So you have to sum them up. And in Python, false means 0, true means 1. So when you will use dot sum method over this output, so what it will do? It will sum all those trues. So you will get total number of null values inside this column, that is base pay. So you have in total 609 null values. You have to deal with 609 null values in this particular column. So let's see what is the question again. What is the average base pay? Now there is a thing with the mean function. Average means the mean of it, right? So we want to take the mean of it, average pay, right? Let's call it equals to will be salary column, salary data, which column? Base pay column. Let's take the mean of it. So we'll just first open the documentation. The mean method, we know when you just basically we are summing the values, right? When we sum numerical values with the missing values, the answer will always be missing. But with the mean method, by default what it does is it skips the missing values. It skips your what it does, it will skip the missing values. So by default it will skip them and will give you the actual average base pay after skipping those missing values. So actual values will be this will be your base pay. So this much is your base pay. So now let's come to the second part of the question. What is the highest amount of overtime pay in the data set? Again, highest, it means in this particular column you want to find what? The maximum value. So again you have to locate this column overtime pay. So let's do that. Let's locate this salary. In the salary data frame, what you want to locate is overtime pay column. So this will be looking like this. Again you want to you are selecting only one column, so the answer, the output here will be a series. If we just check the type of it, let's do that. Let's check the type of it. It will be a series because you are just pulling out only single column out of this data frame. Right now we have to go further in this question. What we want to find is maximum, highest amount of overtime pay in the data set. So what you will do is just use the max method over it. So maximum pay overtime pay is this much. So is it correct? Yeah, it's correct. So this is how you can just first always remember to study this question very nicely. What they are asking, just try to you know understand the meaning behind it. Highest amount, it means the maximum value, and what overtime pay column, which is a part of this data set. So let's come to the third question here. They are asking what is the job title of Joseph. They are asking about a particular person, means particular employee name. We have to find a particular employee name, and what they are talking about is they are asking you the job title of this particular Joseph. Use all caps, and they are also giving you one note here. Use all caps lock. Okay, otherwise you may get an answer that does not match up. Maybe there was some other person employee name whose name was also Joseph, but in our data set returned in a lowercase. So right now we want to find this Joseph whose name returned in our data set in all caps locks, right? So first we have, what we have to do is we have to locate this employee, right, in our data set. So salary data set, let's find inside that data set employee column where the name is exactly equals to what. Let's copy this name. Yeah, so let's run this. What it will give you, it will be a bunch of, again, true or false. We are saying सैलरी के अंदर जो एम्प्लॉय कॉलम है जहां पे भी एम्प्लॉय का नाम एग्जैक्टली इक्वल्स टू ये है. So basically you are just using the logical condition operator, right? You are saying employee name जहां जहां जोसेफ है, बट करना क्या है, यू हैव टू पुल दैट थिंग आउट, राइट? उस पर्टिकुलर वैल्यू को, ये ट्रूज एंड फॉल्स नहीं चाहिए, उस पर्टिकुलर वैल्यू को आपको बाहर निकालना है. तो बाहर निकालना है मतलब आपको इंडेक्सिंग करना है. जहां पे भी ये कंडीशन सेटिस्फाई होगी वो आपको बाहर निकालना है, वो ऑब्जर्वेशन फ्रॉम वेयर, फ्रॉम द सैलरी डेटा सेट. तो ये आप जोसेफ के करस्पॉन्डिंग उसका पूरा बायोडेटा आपको मिल जाता है, उसका जॉब टाइटल भी मिल जाता है, बेस पे भी मिल जाता है, ओवर टाइम, एवरीथिंग अबाउट दिस पर्टिकुलर एम्प्लॉई. बट द क्वेश्चन इज नॉट आस्किंग अबाउट यू अबाउट एवरीथिंग. It's not asking anything, everything about this particular Joseph, right? They are asking about the particular feature, and those particular feature are the job title of him, right? So what you will do is पूरे आंसर में से just pull the कौन सा कॉलम, जॉब टाइटल कॉलम. So let's do that. Control C. If you are confused about what is the basically किस format में लिखा है, so column names, use this thing. Just copy this, Control C and Control. So what you will get answer is job title of that person is what? Captain. He is a captain of fire suppression. So this is how, and it is at the position 24th. So this is how you get the answer. Okay. If they are also asking, नहीं उसके corresponding उसका नाम भी mention करना है, so आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा, job title as well as वो employee का नाम भी. So let's copy this thing and paste it here and run this thing. Okay, what we have done is, okay, we have to send a list of it, right? So just, yeah. So this is how you get the answer. Now let's move to the fourth question. What they are asking is, what is the name? So the one thing to note here, whatever we are now doing is the actually part of a data analysis. We are analyzing the data, which is the highest pay, what are the highest pay, uh, एम्प्लॉई का नाम जोसेफ है उसका जॉब टाइटल क्या है वी आर एनालाइजिंग द डेटा राइट सो दिस इज अ डेटा एनालिसिस so this kind of question always be there, always be raised to you if you are a data analyst, if you are working as a data analyst. So you have to go through everything. You have to check how many null values are there. Okay, fine, what is the maximum value, what is the average base pay, then particular किसी employee के corresponding उसका job title क्या है, and so on. So let's move to the fourth question. What they are asking is, what is the name of the lowest? Now again, they are asking the name of who? The person who is having the lowest paid, means his total pay benefits are what, including benefits, is the lowest. So we have to first locate the person who is having the minimum salary. So what you will do in this data set, locate in this data set, just pull this column out, and in this particular column, wherever the इस कॉलम में जहां पे भी ये मिनिमम वैल्यू आएगी उसको आपको इस सैलरी में से बाहर निकालना है. सो लेट्स डू दैट. सैलरी कॉलम में, सैलरी डेटा सेट में विच कॉलम दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट, टोटल पे बेनिफिट. सो कंट्रोल सी and let's say control V dot minimum value. Let's find the minimum value. Okay, minus something is fishy here, right? Minimum value pay can never be a negative value. Either it can be a zero or it can be anything positive value. But something is wrong here in this data. Okay, fine. From the salary, what you want to find? जिस भी person का ये minimum salary है उसका नाम निकालना है, right? So salary, and what they are asking is total pay benefits. So particular person ka total pay benefit, which is exactly equals to minimum value of it, right? So this is basically logical operation, or you can say conditional indexing. So particular person was Joey Lopez, and her job title was counselor, and base pay was zero. Wow, something is actually fishy with this data. So maybe this maybe happened because someone must have made some kind of a mistake while downloading or while making the database. So it must be a database error. So that's what they were asking here. Do you notice something strange about how much he or she is paid? So basically, no one's pay can be negative. It can be either be zero or something a positive value. So pay can never be negative. So this is a something wrong. This was also a part of analysis. What you analyze is here is this particular employee name के corresponding जो उसका data था, observation था, pay था, जो भी था, it was wrong. Something database में कोई problem था, and you have just analyzed that. Okay, so let's move further. Now the next question, that is the fifth question they were asking, they are asking is, what was the average? Again, focus on the statement. They are asking about the mean value. Mean value of what? Base pay. So what was the average base pay of all employees per year? Year wise they are asking about averages. Now let's check our data set first. Year column, okay, we have 2011, 2011, 2000, and they are saying ईयर वाइज यू हैव टू ग्रुप द डेटा। हम लोगों को ईयर वाइज बेस पे निकालना है एम्प्लॉयज का कि 2000 ईयर में एवरेज कितना मिलता था हर एम्प्लॉय को 2012 में। मतलब आपको सारे ऑब्जर्वेशंस किसके एम्प्लॉयज के ग्रुप करने हैं जो 2011 से बिलोंग करते थे, जो 2012 से, ऐसे आपको ग्रुप्स क्रिएट करने हैं। ऑल द ऑब्जर्वेशंस बिलोंगिंग टू 2011, ऑल द ऑब्जर्वेशन अनदर ग्रुप कंटेनिंग ऑल द ऑब्जर्वेशन बिलोंगिंग टू 2012 एंड ऑल द ऑब्जर्वेशन 2013 and another group containing 2014 data, right? So you have to group it. So what it is, group कैसे करोगे? There is a method available to you, that is group by. So किसके अकॉर्डिंग ग्रुप करना है? अकॉर्डिंग टू द ईयर। ग्रुप किसके अकॉर्डिंग करना है? ईयर वाइज। सो सैलरी डेटा सेट में मुझे ग्रुप करना है ग्रुप बाय ईयर कॉलम। सो लेट्स copy this thing and paste it here. So right now one more thing to observe here is, जब आप इस तरह से ग्रुप बाय करते हो ना, तो हम लोगों का पहला थॉट प्रोसेस क्या रहता है? ऐसा प्रॉपर स्टेक्स, ऐसा ग्रुपिंग करा हुआ हमको वर्जन मिलेगा। हमेशा ध्यान रखना, जब आप ग्रुप बाय यूज करते हो ना, तो आपको आउटपुट इस तरह से कुछ मिलता है कि देयर इज अ डेटा फ्रेम ग्रुप बाय ऑब्जेक्ट हैज बीन क्रिएटेड एंड कहाँ क्रिएट हुआ है? इस पर्टिकुलर रेफरेंस पे। सो ग्रुप बाय आपको हमेशा और हमेशा इस तरह का रिजल्ट देता है। पर आप, क्योंकि जब तक आप उसके ऊपर ग्रुप बाय जो ऑब्जेक्ट है हमेशा एक्सपेक्ट करता है आपसे इसके बाद में कोई एग्रीगेट फंक्शन, मीन निकालना हो, सम करना हो, स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन करना हो। सो ग्रुप बाय के बाद आपको इट इज मैंडेटरी टू यूज सम काइंड ऑफ एग्रीगेट फंक्शन टू लुक एट, टू गेट द इनसाइट ऑफ इट, कि हर ग्रुप वाइज कितना एवरेज हुआ है, कितना हर ग्रुप में स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन है, इस तरह से। So right now the question was asking about the average, right? Average of what? Base pay. So let's do that. ग्रुप वाइज क्या है? ईयर वाइज आपने ग्रुपिंग किया है, उसका मीन निकालो एंड आपको हर न्यूमेरिकल कॉलम का वो ईयर वाइज एवरेज देगा। पर हमको हर कॉलम का चाहिए क्या? नहीं, वी आर जस्ट आस्किंग अबाउट द बेस पे कॉलम। So let's copy this thing and run it. So this is how year wise average pays. So this was 2011, 2012, 2013 and 2015, and you can observe in 2013 comparatively average base pay was very high, and in other years it was 63, around 65, 66, and only in 2013 it was 69. So yeah, again this thing you have analyzed. Now the next question is, how many unique job titles are there? Now you have to focus only on this particular column, job titles. Job title are basically, job title column is basically your what? Categories. These are the categories. Job title, someone is fire brigade, someone is captain, someone is manager, someone is a nurse, someone is doctor. So these are the categories, right? Job titles are the categories. So how many unique categories are present in the job title column? So there is a direct method that you can यूज ऑन योर कॉलम जॉब टाइटल। आपको उस जॉब टाइटल कॉलम के अंदर आपको यूनिक एलिमेंट्स निकालने थे, तो इस तरह से आप निकालोगे तो आंसर विल बी 2159 यूनिक जॉब टाइटल्स वर प्रेजेंट इन आवर डेटा सेट। Now let's come to the second question is, they are asking, so what are the top five most common jobs? Unique, okay, but what were the top five common? Maybe out of 2000 observation, 500 were nurses, 200 were doctors. So these are the top five most common jobs, right? So you want to find it. So how you will find it? सैलरी डेटा सेट में जो जॉब टाइटल जो कॉलम है उनका आप वैल्यू काउंट्स निकालोगे। सो विल डू दैट। सैलरी डेटा सेट में जो जॉब टाइटल है कॉलम, उसमें आपको वैल्यूज काउंट करना है, राइट? value, what you have to do is dot value counts. सी हर जॉब टाइटल के करस्पॉन्डिंग आपको कितने बार वो रिपीट हुआ है पर्टिकुलर जॉब टाइटल, उसके काउंट्स आएंगे। और बेसिकली ये जो आपके काउंट्स होते हैं ना, ये आपका सॉर्टेड होता है, आपके डिक्रीजिंग ऑर्डर में आपको देता है। सो ईदर यू कैन जस्ट कन्वर्ट इट इनटू अ लिस्ट, आप इसको यहीं पे लिस्ट में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हो। So agar let's just copy this thing one more time, control C, and let's take some nice. So आपको यहाँ से जो वैल्यू काउंट करता है ना, बेसिकली आपको ये वैल्यूज को काउंट करता है जितनी बार भी ये रिपीट हुआ है ये इस पर्टिकुलर कॉलम में, उनका काउंटिंग हमेशा आपको डिक्रीजिंग ऑर्डर में मिलता है। सो आई कैन डू वन थिंग कि इसमें जो टॉप 5 कॉलम्स है उनको बाहर निकाल लो। सो इधर यू कैन गो फॉर दैट थिंग, और आप ये पर्टिकुलर जो आपको सीरीज मिला है उसका आप ऊपर से टॉप 5 निकाल लो। सो दिस विल बी योर टॉप 5 job titles which are prominent or the common. Okay, so next question is how many job titles were represented by only one person in 2013? They are now asking only about 2013 year, and job title were represented by only one person. सो आप क्या करोगे, पर्टिकुलर ईयर वेयर ईयर इज 2013, एंड उसमें आपको कौन से कॉलम के बारे में बात करना है, जॉब टाइटल में जहां पे भी वैल्यू काउंट एग्जैक्टली इक्वल 1 होगा उसको आपको बाहर निकालना है, एंड उनका समेशन टोटल निकालना है। सो उसका आप सम करोगे तो टोटल 202 ऐसे जॉब टाइटल थे वर रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय ओनली वन पर्सन। ठीक है, मोस्टली सिर्फ एक ही इंसान वो जॉब करता था, जॉब टाइटल से बिलोंग करता था। सो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज हाउ मेनी पीपल हैव द वर्ड, now it's very tricky question, so just be there and focus on it. They are asking how many people have the word chief in their job title. Again we have to just focus on this particular column, that is job title, right? But what we have to find is the count of people having a word chief in their job title. Okay, so what you will do is you will again go back to your Python, and where we learn the for loop and if statements. What you will do, you will make an empty list. This is the method one. You will make an empty list, named it as a contain, yeah, which will count how many जॉब टाइटल्स एक्चुअली कंटेंट, इट विल आप इसके अंदर एक एक करके काउंट फीड करते जाओगे जो जो जॉब टाइटल में इस तरह से चीफ प्रेजेंट रहेगा, राइट? तो आपने अभी एम्प्टी लिस्ट बनाई। नाउ आपने इस जॉब टाइटल पर्टिकुलर ये कॉलम जब उठाते हो आप कोई भी एक पर्टिकुलर कॉलम, सो उसका डेटा टाइप क्या रहता है, डेटा टाइप इज अ डेटा फ्रेम, सॉरी इट्स अ सीरीज, राइट? सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इसको आपको लिस्ट में कन्वर्ट करना पड़ेगा। सो नाउ इट विल बिकम अ लिस्ट ऑफ जॉब टाइटल्स। आफ्टर दैट आपको फॉर टाइटल इन दिस लिस्ट ऑफ ऑल जॉब टाइटल्स व्हाट यू वांट टू फाइंड, इफ चीफ करके जो ये वर्ड है, कीवर्ड है, इज इफ इट इज प्रेजेंट इन टाइटल डॉट लोअर, और वो भी लोअर केस में अगर प्रेजेंट है, देन आपको कंटेन जो लिस्ट है उसके अंदर क्या अपेंड करना है, ट्रू अपेंड करना है। सो after that you just have to calculate the number of truths that contain list में आपने append करा है after the loop is finished. So in total 624 ऐसे लोग थे जिनके आपके जॉब टाइटल में चीफ आता था। Now the method 2 is आपने lambda फंक्शन पढ़ा था, so what it will do is lambda will take only one argument, and उस argument को वो पहले लोअर केस में कन्वर्ट करेगा, एंड उसको लोअर केस में कन्वर्ट करने के बाद इफ चीफ करके ये कीवर्ड है अगर वो प्रेजेंट है, so again we know lambda function doesn't need any return keyword return here, right? सो ऑटोमेटिकली वो ट्रूज को रिटर्न करेगा, फॉल्स रिटर्न करेगा अगर इसमें प्रेजेंट नहीं हुआ तो। सो आपको ये चीज कहाँ अप्लाई करनी है, ये एक्स की वैल्यूज कहाँ से आएंगी, ये एक्स की वैल्यू सैलरी डेटा सेट में जो जॉब टाइटल कॉलम है उसके ऊपर अप्लाई करना है। तो एक एक करके जॉब टाइटल यहाँ से फेच होगा, एक्स की जगह यहाँ पे फीड होगा एंड एक्स के ऊपर आप ये सर्चिंग करोगे एंड फिर उसको सम करोगे। सो लेट्स डू दिस थिंग फर्स्ट। सैलरी में ये जो पर्टिकुलर जॉब टाइटल कॉलम है, जॉब टाइटल जो कॉलम है उसके ऊपर आपको अप्लाई करना है क्या, दिस लैम्डा फंक्शन which takes only one argument, और उसके साथ में क्या करता है, it checks for the chief keyword in, जब आपने यहाँ से x आर्ग्यूमेंट उठाया फर्स्ट, लेट्स जस्ट कन्वर्ट into a lower case. Now what it will return, again it will returns a bunch of trues and false, and just you have to sum all those trues which will give you the exact count. So exactly 627 were the people who are having chief in their job title. So this will you have worked on through this track. We worked, we saw numpys, we worked on pandas library, we actually worked on the real life data set, and we saw what are the analysis part that we can perform through the pandas data frame. So this ends our day 2 session, and we'll meet you in the day 3 upcoming data visualization part. So for now, see you and take care.